There are things I wish I'd known when I was 24. Now I'm 84, but I'm printmaking now, but I'm using a 3D printer to print the parts for a 3D printing press. So I'm using a printer to print a press to print, and so on. I couldn't have known that. Too many things. What I know now, though, is that I can spend an hour printing this piece and thinking, my favorite activity, and thinking about, for example, elder kidpreneurs. My latest idea is based on kidpreneurs, of course, and how I could, as an 84-year-old, work with kids on entrepreneurial projects and make a whole organization. I can think about that. Now, whether I can do it in this culture in America in 2026, that remains to be seen. But I will keep working on it. Now let's watch me as I go on my walk and talk about what I don't wish that I'd known when I was 24, but might have helped. Do you believe in magic in an old man's heart? I have to say I do believe in magic by now. That at 24, I never would have imagined the magic of carrying a video camera in one hand and talking and recording and having a virtual coach in that medium. But I've lived into the future. I'm 84, and my coach says, think of the things that you wish you'd known when you were 24, 60 years ago. Well, actually, I was pretty happy with, I'm happy with what I knew and what I didn't know, actually. But if I had known that my life would be a series of recursive events, that there would be something called an algorithm, a recursive algorithm that would be prevalent throughout my life, I kind of wish I'd known that, but I don't think I would have understood it. Because a recursive algorithm is kind of like a spiral compared to a flat plane, like a plate, for example. A spiral, a slinky, like compared to a flat plane. A slinky represents a recursive algorithm, whereas a flat plane, a flat plate, is like the calendar, where the months go around January, February, March, and then come back to January again. And most people that I would encounter in my lifetime were working on a flat kind of algorithm, that they expected that next January would be like last January, and so on and so on. But a recursive algorithm takes into account that you will learn a lot in the 12 months of your life, each cycle, and January will not be the same. You will not be the same. And if you don't realize that, and you realize that almost virtually everyone around you is on a flat plane kind of, then your intersection with your slinky-like life with their flat life, there's going to be conflicts, and there's going to be misunderstandings, and there are going to be fights and jealousies and just generally not understanding. And I kind of didn't understand that throughout my life until the last few years when I learned about recursivity. That's one thing I kind of wish I'd known. And I wish I'd known that printmaking was not the end game. It wasn't the end of the evolution of what it started out as. It dates back to prehistoric times when prints were made alongside of paintings. Whereas the time I was living in 1964, and I went to teach, printmaking was seen by all those other flat plane people as an offshoot of painting. And there it was. And I didn't know that it really dates back to the handprints on the walls of caves 30,000 years ago. And on top of that, it would be the ancestor of all technologies, like the technology that I'm holding in my hand and recording. I kind of wish I'd known that, and I think I would have tried to teach that to my students at that time, but it wouldn't work because, as I said, my spiraling upward, outward, or downward, whatever, on a like a slinky, was carrying me on a different path and a different locus, as I call it. And finally, for the purpose of this little exercise, if I had known how important journalizing was, um, I I didn't start journalizing until 2 years later, 1968, and now I have over 60 journals spanning those years. And had it not been for those journals, I also learned that at Evergreen State College, where I taught briefly, that journalizing was actually a requirement. It was viewed as so important that every student, every faculty person was required to understand and keep journals. Well, that's come down to the fact that today I have my whole autobiography, again, in this magical medium of a computer publication on screen, a flip book that anyone in the world can look at. But mainly it's for me, and I can look back any morning I want to as to what I was doing in 1964 and beyond. So journalizing would be probably the capstone, maybe, in the end. Somewhat like what I'm doing right now, although in a digital medium. Thanks for watching. I'm Bill Ritchie.